Final day of the 2017 BMW IBSF two-man bobsleigh World Championships. We're in Königssee, Bavaria on a stunning Sunday in February. Hello everybody, welcome back. You hadn't been away for long, had you? We are ready to decide the medals in the two-man bobsleigh competition, the fourth and final run. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan, and John, our hot favourites, look like they've got a chance to firm up their positions.
Yeah, Lochner and Bloom, the hometown boy, lives about a mile down the street with his parents. Well, he's been sick, hasn't had the same start times he had 3 weeks ago when he won this event. But he's pretty solidly in third place, looking at a bronze medal. He was a silver medalist a couple years ago in the 2015 World Championships in Winterberg. Here's the surprise of the competition. Justin Cripps, Jesse Lumsden, these two Canadians. Well, Cripps likes this track. He won 2 years ago. He won a bronze medal last year, but he's been nowhere near the podium in the second half of the season. He's had a very dismal 4 or 5 weeks in Europe. Justin Cripps on the verge of a silver medal. Francisco Friedrich, Thorsten Margus, 3 straight World Championship victories. On their way to a 4th, they're chasing down legendary Eugenio Monti, who won 5 straight World Championships from 57 to 61. I think we're seeing history in the making here. This young German is 1 step closer to chasing down Eugenio Monti.
And he's got over 3/4 of a second in hand over Justin Cripps. Johannes Lochner, similarly, a decent distance away, 1500s behind Cripps. Oskars Kiebermanis in 4th place, probably not going to challenge for the medals, but trying to stay ahead of Nick Polignato, another big surprise for Canada. And behind Polignato, we've got a close group as well. So all the way down our top 20, lots to battle for. 36 sleds started the competition, and after the first 3 heats, we cut it to the fastest 20. Maciej Luty of Poland will go through. Last year's winner on this track, Yun Jung-won, and the World Cup champion in two-man, does not make the cut. And the Russians only get 2 of their 3 sleds in as well. Well, there are the sleds ready to go in Parc Fermé. The one closest to us goes last, Justin Cripps, and there's Francisco Friedrich. Have about an hour to go before their date with destiny to achieve the medals.
Well, there's a lot of races within races here. There might not be people who win medals today, but there are people that want to emerge as Russia won, US won. There's a lot of challenges out here for athletes and a lot of performances. The way they get funding from their national Olympic committees has a lot to do where they finish in the top 10 of the World Championships. So beyond the medalists, there's a lot of races within races here in the final heat of the World Championships.
There is your starting draw. Maciej Luty for Poland goes off first. Some unexpected names perhaps in there if you haven't watched much sliding this year. Luty of Poland, Dvorak, and look at that, Nick Polignato in 5th place for Canada. Final run of the two-man bobsleigh World Championships, the first weekend of competition in the 2017 BMW IBSF World Championships in Königssee, Bavaria. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching the action trackside with you as Maciej Luty of Poland is the first on the ice. 20 down to 1 to decide our medals. And the 26-year-old Luty had a Junior World Championship medal here a few years ago. His 28-year-old brakeman, Krzysztof Talkowski.
Oh, he gets in late. Looks like he struggled to get in. Doesn't have very good starts. 22nd in every heat. More of a 4-man specialist. Does better in the 4-man. In fact, did pretty good. Top 15, I think, last year in the World Championships in Innsbruck.
He finished in 16th place in the World Cup race here just 3 weeks ago. So a top 20 finish in the World Championships guaranteed. That will be one of his best performances in the two-man.
He started 27th in the first run. For him to be in this position with a negative start time and starting so late in the first heat tells you that he's got some ability driving the sled. Got good equipment. They're coached by Jānis Minins, the former Latvian World Cup winner. And he brings a lot of technology and instinct to the Polish team. There's Minins on the right.
49.80, and that's 100 slower than his first heat now.
There's the trophies.
The race, the third heat finished just over 8 minutes ago. So there's been no time for track preparation as there should have been. We had a pause in the third heat.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the track holds up with 20 more sleds coming down. And it's, you know, it's not very cold out. You can see the sun every place.
Guys who are late in the order with tiny gaps between themselves might find that the track is not as quick as they'd hoped. Alexander Kazyanov of Russia fought from 21st place into the top 20 to get a final heat. And the story with this man is his sled was damaged after training. The sled he's driving now in the race was raced by Nadezhda Sergeva in the women's competition, but she crashed in the lower labyrinth in the first run. So this sled too has been crashed on Friday.
Well, this is the third-ranked athlete on the World Cup Tour. So for him to have be in the 21st position after 2 runs, we knew something was up. And then the Match TV, the Russian TV commentators told us a story before the race started that his sled was broken and he had to use the woman's sled, and that's why he was in 21st place yesterday. But obviously overnight they made some adjustments. 13th place in the third run has put him into the field barely.
He was 1500ths in front of Maciej Luti from the first 3 heats. He's only 1400ths. Now he starts to open the margin up a little, out to 0.2 of a second. The sled in front of him is only 0.05 of a second away. If he can improve by a 1/10, he'll pick up 2 spots.
Well, he's the guy who finished 10th in this race a couple weeks ago. Rudy looks on, 49.73, so 0.1 slower than his first run. We're trying to get a little picture of how the track is. So if the track's 0.1 slower for the first guys down, usually there's a spritz on the track. Well, obviously there was no time for a spritz, so
Luti only went 100th slower, but Kazyanov's gone a 10th slower. Now, that might be driving error.
Well, down in the labyrinths, this is the dangerous 100-meter section on this track, maybe on any track in the world, and he negotiates that perfectly.
Kazyanov has the lead with 18 sleds to go. 18th place after 3 heats of the 2-man bobsleigh World Championships held by the Czech Republic's Dominik Dvořák. And Dvořák, one of the strong performers this season in the top 10 in the world. The 24-year-old from Prague is a 10.9 100-meter sprinter and really turning very quickly from a good brakeman into an excellent driver. His teammate Jan Verber finished in the mid to low 20s, but Dvořák in the mid-teens, and that's indicative of how good his season has been.
Well, the reason he's so good is because he can run, he can sprint. 6th place in Innsbruck a couple weeks ago, his best finish of his career. I think it caught a lot of people's attention, but when you can run like he can and drive a sled, you have a chance to compete. It'll be interesting to see what he does in a couple weeks with that start time at the new Olympic track in Pyeongchang.
Interesting to see as well how he'll fare in the 4-man, where his teammate is a better 4-man exponent than a 2-man. But Dvořák's been good in both disciplines this year. How good? Well, last year in the Worlds in Innsbruck, he was in 26th position. This year in the World Cup race, as John said, finished in 6th spot. And he's going to be hovering around 17th, 18th here. He's got a lead over Stulnev, and he's growing it all the way down through the final couple of corners. Faster speed.
Good run for him.
Really good run.
49.56. Everybody else went slower. He went 800s faster.
Dominik Dvořák is having the season of his life this year. Really standout performances.
Pretty simple. If you can sprint and you can drive bobsled, you are going to have a chance for success. This kid put it together this year. Great equipment. Look at the beautiful graphics on the sled. Congratulations to him on his World Championship top 17. This is a great result for him. You know, it's all about personal bests out here, Martin. You know, people coming out and improving on their previous performances, and this young Czech pilot, he did it.
Yeah. Big smile as Dominik Dvořák moves into the leader's box. Dominik Dvorak of the Czech Republic is our race leader. First 3 of our final 20 sleds down in the two-man bobsleigh World Championships. Alexei Stulnev was the best placed Russian driver in 17th position, with Max Belugin behind him. 2 4:97 starts yesterday. The first getaway this morning, 5:01, did not help their chances. They only have 0.05 of a second in hand over Dominik Dvorak.
He had a big skid into the first curve. Besides the negative start time, let's see what they do. They got to be in the 4s here. 5 flat, that's so suspect. This guy finished 4th in this event 3 weeks ago. It's like the lights are off in the Russian camp.
He only had 500s in hand. He went 1,200 slower. He's already behind now by 1,500s because of that slower start. He could lose a spot to Dvorak quite easily.
But, you know, again, he was 4th here a couple weeks ago. He knows how to drive. He had unbelievable speeds on the bottom part of the track. And he's got better speed than Dvorak right there.
Yep.
He's going to need it.
71 miles an hour.
There's 1,100s available for him to pick up here at the bottom. He's a good pilot. Needs to be straight right here. Yes.
Gets a good exit.
Down to 4. He's going to do it.
Second fastest speed. At the line, just in front of Dominik Dvorak.
That's what we expect out of Stulnev and the Russians. The guy finished 4th. He can't have bad heat, bad heat. Look at Zubkov. Look at this. Has not been a good 3 days for the Russian bobsled program.
I don't think it's going to be a good fortnight for Russian bobsledding. Alexei Stulnev just holds off a 24-year-old from the Czech Republic. It's not glory, is it? Look at the body language
there. Look at the lines, too. Look at Dvorak's line compared to Stulnev. Stulnev way more experienced than Dvorak.
Speed with a line like that.
Genau, leading the Russian war quasi 400 waren sie in 3 Läufen insgesamt schneller als die jetzt führenden Stulnev Belugin. Meyer.
16th place after 3 heats of the two-man bobsleigh World Championships, Benny Meyer. His father, Manfred, the Austrian coach on the right of your picture, was telling me last night how many times he and Benny have fallen out, and it's been Benny's mother who's been the peacemaker between them, keeping it all on project. But look at his runs. 10th fastest, 7th fastest, and the second one yesterday, 28th. A horror story.
When he jumped in the sled, he caught his foot in the D-rings. That's what happened to him. Let's see what he does here. Look how gently he gets in this time. 49, good start. He told me yesterday he wasn't complaining. He just said to me, pointed his finger at me, and he said, I am going to make some people's days very nasty tomorrow, meaning he's going to move up the ladder. And he did it in the 3rd run with the 7th best time of the heat. And Martin, he won a bronze medal on this track just 3 weeks ago.
He was only 400s in front of Stulnev in the first heat. He is 2,400s up and growing the gap. Benny Meyer is looking to move up the order from 16th. 1/10 of a second would move him up 3 spots.
Boy, the speed, he's just flying.
Wow, 1:22.9 is 76.4 miles an hour.
49.30, he just went 20 faster in that run. So the track does have some faster speed.
That is the 2nd fastest trip down this track today. Francesco Frugic managed a 49.17 in the first heat. The second fastest run was a 49.42, and Benny Meyer has beaten that by 1,200s, 40-odd sleds later.
This is going to be another top 5 or 6 run in the heat because he's got better ice to work with than anybody else coming down the track. What would it have been if he didn't have the 28th placing in the second run?
Look at the smile. There's his girlfriend, Elizabeth Vache. We'll see her in the skeleton race next week. Benny Meyer with a searing run, leads with 15 sleds to go and may climb further. Ugis Zalems of Latvia. Here's what his two-man competition has looked like. 20th, 6th and 13th. Consistency is not a word that you could apply to his 3 runs. Can he find a bit more with brakeman Janus Janssens and move up a spot? He's only 300s in hand over our current leader Benny Meyer, who set the second fastest run on this track all day long.
Yesterday's Women's World Championships, unbelievable racing. Alana Myers-Taylor beat Kaylee Humphreys by 300ths of a second. Kaylee Humphreys was 2nd in the first heat, 2nd in the second heat, 2nd in the 3rd heat, 2nd in the 4th heat. That's the type of consistency you need to be successful on this track.
900ths of a second, the margin, but he needs stunning speed. Benny Meyer had 71.5 miles an hour here. He's only got 70.9. He's going to lose all of those 900ths.
Latvian sleds are not fast on the bottom part of this track.
76.4 miles an hour is the top speed at the bottom from Benny Meyer, and he is going down. Uge Salims will hang on to second place ahead of Alexei Stulnev, but Meyer lives on in the leader's box. Brakeman Marcus Sammer on the right looks just as happy. So 49.46.
Well, he's got a chance to keep moving up.
Well, again, that was 0.2 of a second nearly quicker than his last run for Uge Salims. So despite the fact we've had 36 sleds down in Heat 3 and no track prep before Heat 4 got underway, there is still speed in this track.
The lines in the labyrinth, well, his speed was already gone before he got to here. You could see that little front bump turned him around a little bit as he goes into Kelstein. Those pictures are spectacular. The trophies.
It has not been a good World Championships for Switzerland. Rico Peder lies in 14th place. He was tied for 9th with Team Bert Hefty after the first heat. And after the second, he was in 10th position, Hefty in 9th. Now they are 14th and 12th. They went backwards in Heat 3 and desperately needs to turn that around, and look at what his performances have been like.
A little inconsistent. The last trip down the track, he was sideways all the way down the bend-away. I mean, I gave him the name early in the season, the reckless driver, and he looked like he was a reckless driver in that third run.
33-year-old, he was bronze in the four-man World Championships last year.
He's 8th in World Cup points. He had an opening silver medal at the Whistler World Cup. He had a great North American tour, but things have dropped off for Rico Peder since then.
And at the moment, he's losing a spot to Benny Meyer, our current leader. Only 300ths of a second behind, but he is enormous, an entire mile an hour down on speed. This could be a quarter second behind by the line.
Benny Meyer said he's going to make a lot of people miserable in this today, and he's doing it.
At the moment, 5th best speed. He's going to lose 3, maybe 4 spots. It's
Terrible.
3 spots down.
What a negative result for Rico Peder in Switzerland. The Swiss have a great reputation for winning on this track. 1979 World Championships here, the first ever. Eric Scherer won here. Scherer won again in the four-man here in '86. Look at the body language here.
Last Swiss win was Bert Hefty 3 seasons ago. And that ain't happening here.
Look.
Well, he's still got a smile on his face, but
He's second in World Cup points in four-man.
this won't affect that.
The lines, well, he was already buried before he got to this point. I mean, this is okay, but
Well, he'll be disappointed to be finishing behind Bert Hefty, who he's beaten comfortably all season long. Hefty somehow turning it on at the last minute. Well, Justin Olsen, 22nd in the first heat, 8th fast in the second, 4th fastest in the third heat. This could be the man that puts Benny Meyer out of the leader's box for the USA.
If he can get out of the exit of the 4 S's, he's 1 out of 3 getting out of there perfectly. But that's why he was 4th in that third heat. So start time, he's at the 3rd best start in all 3 heats, 4:80.
Fastest of all from him and Evan Weinstock.
Weinstock, the Brown University track and field athlete. He's a decathlete who competed for the United States internationally, 7,700 plus points at the 2015 Austin track and field event.
So the soldier from San Antonio gets into a big skid.
Speed's not too bad.
Yeah, just a whisker shy of Benny Meyer. So you got 3/10 in hand. It could be down into single digits at the line, but it should be enough in the tank to move in front of Benny Meyer.
This has been a great World Championships. Bad first run. Oh, but it's coming down to 900s. Watch out.
Second fastest. He's got enough, and he comes across the line tied. He does not push Benny Meyer out of the leader's box.
He doesn't lose his placing, but still great World Championships.
Yeah. Evan Weinstock happy with that. Fastest start, he'll find out in a moment, and they come across as leaders.
Yeah, baby! United States of America, they also go to...
Wow, good result for him. He knows it, just one bad heat. He got out of the S's there okay. Then here, he's feathered there perfectly, and then, oh, he gets this big skid before the Jetta curve, and down here on the bottom, oh, that skid cost him so much speed. That allowed Benny Mayer back into the picture. But there's nothing wrong with Justin Olsen tying Benny Mayer, who won a bronze medal on this track just 3 weeks ago.
Think he looks disappointed with his World Championship two-man performance? I don't. And for our joint leaders, this man, in any other season, will be a huge scalp. Pick off Bert Hefty in a two-man, you do a great job. Hefty's had a wretched season, and it seems only the lure of the World Championships and the addition of this young brakeman, Michael Quonen, behind him, that has electrified his performance. He needs to recover that first heat form, John Morgan, or he's dead and buried here.
Twilight of his career, he was, you know, unbelievable master of the best starts in the competition. 488, third best start. He's got 1800ths lead, second best velocity, which is great, but he needs to drive.
Bronze medalist in last year's two-man World Championships at Innsbruck in Austria. 3 weeks ago on this track, 26th in the World Cup race.
Well, 19 to 19, that's good. He stopped and he played any kind of 114 speed, he'll be the leader. There's the 114 speed.
A mile an hour shy though. The others were at 71.6. He's at 70.8.
Right there. Watch out, he lost a lot of time. Boy, he did not get through there. He did not get through there very well.
He's going down. He only had 500s. He can't hold on.
Oh, no, he's gone. This is the silver medalist from the 2014 Games. Toast, seventh best time.
Drops four places.
Behind his, no, he's still ahead of his teammate by 900s. The Swiss and the Russians have had disastrous World Championship results here this weekend.
And the Koreans.
And the Koreans. Talk about that.
And he nearly crashed.
This is his last World Championship.
No
we'll see him at the Olympics next year. But
no kidding.
Beat, who used to just bury everybody. Look at the speed. Olsen, half a kilometer better. Olsen's been down the track 1/10 the amount of times that Beat Hefty has.
If that.
Right here,
yeah.
he comes out too early.
How close
you
does
talk
he get?
about right here. This was potential. Look, that's the wrong direction you want to be. Look at the airborne runner. That's the wrong direction. And then there's a lot of friction. He lost a lot of time in the last 200 meters.
Only Misha McNeil went further out and got away with it. Now, what about this? What a story these guys have had. Rudy Rinaldi and Boris Vian for Monaco, celebrating Monaco Bobsleigh Federation's 30th anniversary. They are in 11th place. They are 100th out of the top 10.
Well, this is the biggest heat of Rudy Rinaldi's life, other than him winning a bronze medal at the Junior Olympics in 2012.
Fastest start of their competition.
488. Monaco in 2004, Patrice Serville, Sebastian Gattuso, 4th place in the World Championships on this track. So this young athlete is trying to feather himself down into an unbelievable performance.
He has got great hope for the future.
Speed.
Very good speed, 71 miles an hour, lots of support trackside. The gap's down to 16 over our joint leaders, Justin Olsen, Benny Mayer.
This sled has good speed on the bottom. Normally, that's straight, that 12. This should be enough. This is going to be a big celebration by the coaches.
No worse than 11th, and a 49.44 slide.
Look at the coaches. Look at these guys. Look at what a season this Rinaldi has had.
Yeah. Rudy Rinaldi and Boris Vian from Monaco.
You want to meet Boris Vian in any dark alleys, I can tell you that.
He better be on our side.
That's a big boy right there in the back seat. Congratulations to Rudy Rinaldi. Again, it's all about personal best. That's what we let off the program about. People coming out having their personal bests. Look at the lines here. This kid is just showing us a lot all season, from the Whistler event all the way to here. What a great season he's had. Couple hits here. This is pretty much the norm.
Tiny little breakaway skid, but the second tap straightened him up. Rudy Rinaldi and Boris Vian of Monaco lead with 10 to go in the two-man World Championships. Confirmation of the positions. Rudy Rinaldi 700ths ahead of Justin Olsen and Benny Meyer. The fastest 10 sleds in the competition still to come in the fourth and final heat here in Königssee. Wow, already the drama continues to build here. There in the yellow jacket is the not the mayor, the governor of this region of Berchtesgadener Land. And you just saw to the right of his wife, a double Olympic and I believe 4-time world champion in men's doubles, Alexander Resch, who with Patrick Leitner was the dominant force for a decade in doubles luge. And Alexander Resch part of the organising group of all the events on this track, bobsleigh, luge, skeleton at all levels. Alex has been a real stalwart here. Down there, keeping the crowd alive, is our buddy, the DJ. And he'll be breaking out the shorts. He's got the Kurzhosen on. He should have some flamboyant shorts. Right in the center of the shot, you can see the Belgian bobsleigh girls tucking into yet another bratwurst in the crowd. Those guys have drunk the Kool-Aid, and what a vista this is. We're surrounded by stunning mountain scenery. Last 2 days, it's been utterly monochrome, hidden in the cloud and the mist. And there is your leader on the right-hand side, Rudy Rinaldi. On the left, Boris Vian. And it's only the presence of Boris Vian that makes Rudy Rinaldi look small, because he's a big unit as well. Two 23-year-olds in a decade, they could still be taking big wins for Monaco. They lead with 10 to go in this World Championships, and they've got a real shot of making a top 10 finish. So the trophies are down at the bottom, the Rookies Trophy and the Max Huben Trophy for the two-man World Champion. So there you are, the Max Huben Trophy closest to us has been presented since the 30s to the best two-man driver every year. The Max Huben Trophy and the Rookie Trophy for the two-man bobsleigh competition, with the big crowd in Königssee behind it. Final 10 sleds to go. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching the action trackside with you in Bavaria. Chris Spring and Alex Kopax freshly rejoined the team away from injury, in the top 10 after 3 of the 4 heats. There are your leaders. On the right, driver Rudy Rinaldi and his brakeman Boris Vian for Monaco. And the gap between these two sleds after the first 3 heats, 100th of a second after 2.5 minutes of sliding.
492 start. That's not the 490 that they had in the first 3 runs. Alex Kopax saying that he's in the best shape since August. And Martin, this is the end of the season. There's so many people out here with injuries, little nagging injuries, health issues, a lot of cold, a lot of flu going around in the teams. And so for an athlete to say, I feel the best I've had since August, is something.
Well, he's been injured on the sick list most of the season, so he's coming back strong just when they need him most. But he is behind Rudy Rinaldi. Chris Spring only 3rd place.
You tap there, you could fall back 2 places, 3 places.
And don't forget, Justin Olsen and Benny Meyer are tied, and he does, but drops behind them. So Rinaldi is guaranteed no worse than 10th place.
Top 10 in the World Championships for Monaco.
Olsen and Meyer are in 2nd place at the moment, tied together.
How about Benny Meyer, that 28th place in 1 run? Look where he's come to.
And Chris Spring slips 4 spots. And that will be a disappointment for him.
Look at his knee. Look at this guy. He's operating 75%. You know, give him a red badge of courage. Just an example. Everybody's beat up, hurt, wounded. Look at Spring had better speed down here, so he must have lost it up top.
Well, the start 492. Rinaldi started 488, and he lost speed pretty much everywhere as a result. Offers his congratulations, because in the end, you are racing against the mountain. Nobody else can affect your race. 9 to go. Monaco lead. Monaco and Great Britain for so often were very close training partners. What about Bruce Tasker and Joel Fearon? Bruce Tasker, the former brakeman, raced with John Jackson to 4th in the World Championships. Drove himself to 4th last year in the two-man. Joel Fearon, the 3rd fastest ever 100 meters by a British sprinter. He posted last summer, just too late to go to Rio in the 100-meter squad.
And watch out, there's only a couple hundred separating Rudy Rinaldi and Bruce Tasker coming down the track right here.
484 outstarts the Monegasque, so he is
great
in
velocity
the
too. Well, Joel Ferron is a speed monster. Now Bruce Tasker, one of them rookie drivers like a Justin Olsen, guy that's come from the back seat to the front seat in a couple years. 4th place last year for Bruce Tasker in this event at the World Championships in Innsbruck. It was the best British finish in 50 years.
700ths of a second, the gap has come down. It is going to be unbelievably tight. He was half a mile an hour shy in the Kreisel.
A little tap there, right to the 100.
He's going to go behind. Rudy Rinaldi is going to move up the leaderboard again. Oh, by 100th of a second. 100th of a second after 3 minutes and 19 seconds.
The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat in this sport. We're going to see a few more of these hundreds of seconds, maybe even some ties in the next 8 sleds.
Well, we've got a tie for 3rd right now between Justin Olsen and Benny Meyer. And the top 3 are covered by, top 4 sleds rather, covered by 800ths of a second.
Watch the brakeman here. 2 fantastic athletes, Joel Ferron into the sled. Down. Ooh, look at him jump in there. That was a weird entry into the sled. I didn't like that technique. It worked.
Somebody work out what at 76.4 miles an hour 100th of a second is in terms of feet or inches,
yeah,
please.
Send us a Twitter feed.
Tweet me at Martin Haven or at IBSF Announcers, because we need to know what tiny margins we're talking about.
Another tiny margin.
Okay, Nico Walter. Well, he's a little bit marooned. 1100ths faster than current leader Bruce Tasker after 3 runs, but 600-700ths behind Oscar's Melbardis.
He can't get a 494 start like he had, because he'll really be behind Bruce Tasker. 494 again. Now it's down to 100th.
Yep.
So now he's a better driver, more experienced than Tasker. Former loser who's been down the track probably more than anybody in the competition.
Now don't forget, Bruce Tasker and Rudy Rinaldi are separated by 100. Essentially that's 2 sleds. You either beat them both or you lose to them both.
Well, speed, he's going to need 114 and change here to have a chance.
Next weekend should be
150,
his best
that's
weekend.
a chance.
71.6, that equals the fastest speed we've seen, which was from Benny Meyer.
+5, -3, that's the speed, his knowledge of the track. He shouldn't be back here anyways. He really doesn't have a good feel for 2-man.
Here we go, 10th of a second. He's going to put Bruce Tasker out of the leader's box and across the line. 49.42.
Listen to the crowd. Freddie Spies now knows he's got to have 3 sleds in the top 8.
Probably.
Well,
probably.
He's a favorite in the 4-man. Won this event in December of 2015. So he's a favorite in the 4-man. So.
Well, he will do his level best. Eric Franke behind him. Rare appearance on the back of the 2-man for Eric, so clearly he's feeling the... Look at the size of Tasker. Is any wonder he was a brake man? So, Nico Walter, good exit and a good run down the bend away.
You know, he went from +5 to -3. That's as good as it gets. So the rest of the sleds coming down here, they hope to mirror that. Nico, nice to see you smiling.
Yeah. Seven to go. Tied for 6th position, Oscars Melbardis, the reigning 4-man world champion, treating his sled like a baby daughter, and Stephen Holcomb, a multiple 2- and 4-man world champion. So which of the champs is going to come out on top here?
Well, 484 start in the last heat. They had a 483 and a 485 the first day. And, you know, Melbardis, the start monster that he is, he had back surgery in July, and he's still about 90%. He's only 240 pounds, and he's the defending world 4-man champion. Silver medalist at the 2014 Games in 4-man. Got a huge lead here, and, you know, maybe he's looking at moving up. That's as good a line as we've seen maybe in 3 days through there. And
Top speed, faster than anybody.
I don't think anybody ever got through there with only 1 hit.
71.7 miles an hour. Now, can he keep this BTC Latvia sled motoring down through the bottom of the track?
The Latvian sleds have been losing speed down here on the bottom part of the track. Here it goes, still got great speed there.
Tied with Holcomb, who's only 200 out of 4th place. 49.39 is the second fastest trip down the track this weekend.
What's the track getting faster here?
He's getting faster. No, it's the third fastest. Benny Meyer, 49.30, is still the second fastest. Only Francesco Frigic went quicker in the third heat this morning. Only one sled has managed to go faster than Benny Meyer.
Bardis just put some pressure on the sleds coming up. How we got through that straightaway, that bend around, it was the best lines we've seen in 3 days. And here, textbook.
Well, his chance of medal went away on the first run. He was 14th in a field of 36, then 5th, then 6th. And that is the second fastest run we've seen so far.
Be a top one.
So, gauntlet down for Stephen Holcomb. Well, Holcomb has outdriven his start all season long. He is getting back to fitness. With Carlo Valdez behind him, you know he will bleed for Holke to try and give him a start to move them up a couple of spots and into the medal zone.
31st best start in the first heat, 22nd best start in the second heat, 18th best start in the third heat. 493, that's the best start they've had for Carlos Valdez, the track and field athlete from UCLA. You know, Holcomb is not 100%. He's got a quad issue that spent 3 weeks in the UK last year mending, and then he went to Nashville to some specialists there for 3 or 4 weeks, and they say he's still not 100%. But he can still use his eyes and his hands. Probably has the best ability of anybody in the world at driving a bobsled.
Losing ground to Oskars Melbardis. They were tied to the 100th of a second after 3 heats. He's 1700ths back. He needs superhuman speed from the BMW sled. It always gets good numbers. Where is it? It's only 4th. It's not enough. He hasn't got the speed. Melbardis was fastest.
400s. But look what Holcomb did. What a comeback.
Yeah.
He's 17 down. Look at Holcomb come back like that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the start wasn't bad for their best. If he had that start all 4 heats, he'd be challenging for the medal.
Yeah.
He was 5 flat in the first run, 98 the second run. So, Stevie, he needed 4 better. Now watch what he does here. These people in Bavaria love him.
There's a long high-five line for Holcomb.
Look at the lines through here. Different amount of meters. Melbardis had less meters through the Kreisel than Holcomb. Look at, this is what he does. They just love him here.
That's a long line, look. They're holding them out way down the finish straight. They might
stop the track, stop the race for that.
Okay, 5 to go. Is this the biggest story so far in the first week of the World Championships? Monaco are vying for that, Poland as well. Oskars Melbardis, the leader, with 5 to go. But surely nobody would have had money, with no disrespect meant, on Nick Polignato to be in the top 5. He had the #1 start draw, random draw for any athlete outside the top 10 in the world. And he and Neville Wright have capitalized on that. They are riding the crest of a wave.
Biggest heat of his life. If he finishes in this ranking, there will be some celebration by these 2 Canadian athletes at the bottom.
Slipped a spot from 4th place overnight. Great start. Neville Wright
has been doing it.
Is he back 2 years away to complete his college student degree? And he came back this year.
Polignado's never been near the podium, never been in the top 10.
700s in front of Melbardis.
Speed 114 high. 114 high, he's got it. It's going to be close, though.
Oh, my goodness. Nick Polignato could be putting out one of the biggest results we're going to see this fortnight of action. Unfancied dark horse in the black Canadian sled.
He's going to do
still
it.
on target.
Wow.
He is pulling away from Oskars Melbardis, and he will be no worse than 5th.
Can you believe that? This is like a gold medal for this kid. Bishop's University.
That is now the 2nd fastest run today.
You talk about personal best. Dude, this was an unattainable personal best. I can't believe he's at least in 5th. It could be better.
He'd have been that thrilled with 10th a week ago. You know, his target would have been making the second heat, making the final heat, making the top 20. Never mind making the top 5.
The start times. Wow, what a time to peak.
Only one man has gone quicker than Nick Polignarto this weekend, and he is our race leader, and there are only 4 to go. Wow.
It's not over yet, Mark.
If you're not getting goosebumps, call the emergency services because you have no pulse. Okay, Oskars Kibermanis. He was in 6th place overnight, jumped 2 to go 4th. How far away is he from a shock result? Well, the answer is 1600ths of a second out of the medals. Is it possible?
2nd place in the 3rd run, but he had the best start of 4:79. They might be going for that mark again. 4:79, best start, both runs. But of course, Margus is the brakeman for Friedrichs. He might have something to say about that coming up.
Kibermanis has really stepped out in the shadows this year. 2 bronze medals in the 2-man, his first ever 4-man World Cup win this season as well.
This isn't good.
And that might have sealed his fate. Polignarto might get his spot back.
Oh, he's got better speed than Polignarto.
Yeah.
But that was going into the curve. That's...
Oh, and a skid on the way out. Only 900ths in hand.
This is the Latvian sleds have had trouble maintaining speed here in the bottom. This is going to be close.
Polignarto and Neville Wright will not be breathing. It's coming down. Top speed, 123.7. 76.9 is just enough.
Still.
Just enough.
Sanders Preuss, his longtime brakeman, Giannis on the screen, like that result.
Oskars Nalbardis on the left, punch in the air for his teammates.
Hey, that's his best. He's never won a medal before till this year. He's won 2 bronzes in the 2-man. He won a gold medal in 4-man. Another decathlete that they pulled off the streets of Riga.
100th of a second, Jonathan Burgess, thank you, is 33 centimeters at the speed they're doing in the final clock.
And this was almost...
That's a foot.
Yeah, those skids there almost cost him his placing, but he'll finish no worse than 4th. Look at the airborne entry into Kelstein. So meticulous down there. You have to be right to the inch.
Nathan Crumpton weighing in as well. 33 centimeters, around 13 inches per 100th of a second. So into the medals then. Overnight in the bronze, he solidified that position with his 3rd heat. Johannes Lochner suffering with awful flu. Joshua Bloom, his brakeman. And Lochner, the Bavarian hope for the Solitude Bob Club. 3rd, 4th and 5th, his 3 runs.
Listen to the crowd.
Born in Berchtesgaden, where his father, his Uncle Rudy, a world champion in bobsledding for Germany, still live.
489, 10th best start. That's been his nemesis. He's got a respiratory problem for 3 weeks. He won this event 3 weeks ago with much better start times. He hasn't had a chance to train, and I think he'll be very happy to win a bronze medal here. And it's only down to 300ths.
He won going away by half a second 3 weeks ago. He's struggling here, though. 100th.
Oh, huge speed, though.
71.8 miles an hour from his Valner sled. Hannes Valner in the crowd watching. 900ths, the gap is growing. This is going to be a medal for Johannes Lochner. The Bavarian is going to take a medal in Bavaria.
Listen to the crowd. Watch the crowd here at the finish. Like a football stadium down here.
René Spies and Gert Leopold, their physical trainer. They have the first medal. The Bavarians are in at least a bronze medal position.
And considering what he's been through with his health issues the last 3 weeks, did not train on Wednesday, skipped both runs, only took 1 on Thursday. Family, friends. You know, he lives a mile down the street.
Look at all the Bavarian hats there with the blue and white checks. That's all the family and friends. His mum's down there with the banner with the red coat on. And Johannes Lochner's still trying to clear his sinuses.
Well, how's his drive? Start wasn't that good. How are these pictures? A couple hits maybe in the bend around, but speed? Well, he had the best speed in the Chrysler we've seen yet. Well, he needed it with the 10th best start. Joshua Bloom, we saw him, his mother and grandmother the other night.
2 to go. We've got Canadians in the top 3. We've got a Canadian and a German sled still to go. So to double up on what Kaylee Humphries produced yesterday, a silver medal in the women's race, Justin Cripps has been second from the moment he sat down in the first of our 4 heats. Can he take the silver medal here?
Lumsden, Cripps, this is a really good team. Look at the size of that. Lumsden getting in, great technique. Start velocity, 3rd best velocity off the 5th best start, so that's a positive. Now, the guy who we call the international man of mystery, he hasn't done anything the whole season. He hasn't sniffed a podium in this 2017.
Mystery this year,
and he won this event 2 years ago. He had a bronze medal in this, last season. And the Canadians have always liked this track. Peter Luder's won a world championship gold on this track in 2004. He's got 1600s in the bank. What makes it about people liking tracks, Cripps?
The gap's coming down.
It's going to be enough.
Is it going to be enough? It's only 7th fastest speed of the line.
5.
Wow, 49.36. His teammates go off to congratulate him. 2 Canadian sleds will finish in the top half dozen.
What a performance by Justin Cripps and Jesse Lumsden. Listen. Hasn't sniffed the podium this season. I guess you save your best for last. Wow. Well, Lochner, look at the difference in speed. Lochner at a full, but Lochner got crushed at the start.
Full kilometre an hour, but he didn't have enough. Cripps had the lead.
Look at the slide. Boy, that wasn't a perfect entry into that Kelstein, but hey, silver medal for Justin Cripps and Jesse Lumsden.
At least. And so we get one step closer to all-time greatness. Francesco Friedrich and Torsten Margis, 3 straight 2-man World Championship titles. They have 8 gold medals at World Championship Junior, Senior,
477, that ties the start record, I think.
Yes.
Wow, they said they were going for it. They missed it by 100 yesterday.
The great Eugenia Monti won 5 straight World Championships through the late 50s and early 60s. Friedrich is on target for his 4th. He's nearly a full second in front.
Unbelievable, he's blowing the field away like this. But Monti started winning his 5 straight when he was 29 years old. This athlete started winning his World Championships when he was 22 years old. And we're looking at greatness here.
120
making a joke of it. It's ridiculous how much he's winning by.
1.1 seconds going away by a massive margin. And Torsten Margis.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Jesse Lumsden just laughing at the
women's
margin of
event
victory.
yesterday was 300s.
Look at them, they're standing up in jubilation before the sled even gets stopped.
You think they like their bobsledding here?
The only sub-49-second run in the competition. He saved the very best to last. Unbelievable. Francesco Friedrich and Torsten Margis. It's Torsten on the right, Francesco on the left with their partners. And tears of joy from the Friedrich family and friends.
Margis, 7,800 plus decathlete.
And what a part of that success he is. What a team they are together.
Yeah, 4 straight seasons. Monty had the same brakeman for 4 straight years, then switched in his 5th year. So these guys, Whistler in 2019 World Championships, that's where we'll have a chance to tie Monty. And you know, he won the Whistler event in December. So we saw greatness today, Martin. On a short 1,300-meter track, he wins by over 1 second. The women's competition yesterday was separated by 0.03 of a second. There's the rest of the field, and then there's Francisco Friedrich.
I brought my book of superlatives, but we've used them all already on him. He's in a different orbit here to anybody else. Remarkable drive, and if you want to try and pick fault in it, you're more than welcome to try. It's going to be pretty much impossible. Yesterday, the gold medal was won with a start record. Today, the gold medal is won by tying the start record. And Germany go 1-3, but Jesse Lumsden, and on the right, Justin Cripps. Boy, what a big day yesterday for Canada. 2 sleds in the top 6. Today, silver medal and 5th position for Nick Polignato. Again, 2 sleds in the top 6. The Canadian team are turning their fortunes around right at the end of a wretched season. And some great stories further back. Behind Nick Polignato, Rudy Rinaldi, 10th place for Monaco. Bruce Tasker, 9th for Great Britain. Those are big results. And Justin Olsen and Benny Meyer, 11th place tied. Ahead of Chris Spring, Ugo Salims, Bert Hefty ahead of Rico Peter by just over 1/10 of a second. And Alexander Kazyanov just scratching his way into the top 20. Francesco Frigic took over the points lead from Kazyanov a couple of races ago. He's won 4 World Cup races this season, missed out on 1, still leads the points. But here, all about the world title. His 4th straight senior world title in there as well. He has won a team gold medal and 3 junior world titles, 2 in 2-man, 1 in 4-man. 8 World Championship golds now make that 9 hanging around his neck. And that brings us to a dramatic conclusion for the 2-man competition. More action in sunny Königssee coming up with the teams race. And that will kick off in just over 2 hours at 10 to 3 local time, 10 to 2 GMT. Join us then. Until then, enjoy your lunch. Goodbye for now.